Good morning. Welcome to Forever Talks with Anthony. Today we're going to have a insightful conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being, right? But in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about hope grows through action, not waiting, right? We got to take in consideration that when we're stagnant, when we're stuck, we just, nothing good's going to come in our way, right? We can just be waiting. We could just be trying to wait for a miracle, right? But let's just be real, right? Nothing good comes without putting in the work, right? So we got to take consideration that anything we want, anything we desire, we can get, but we have to also be willing, right? But we also got to put action into it, right? So in regards to today, we're going to talk about hope isn't something that you just find. It's something that you are able to build, right? So in regards to normalizing and reducing some shame, I wanted us to take in consideration for my first key point in regards to it's common to think that you need clarity or confidence before starting, right? Before you get into something. When those feelings don't come, it usually feels as if that, something's wrong with you, or you take things personal, right? Also, hesitation is often a way of protection, not failure, right? We gotta look at our patterns. We gotta look at our mindset. Like I said, some of us are not motivating ourselves. Some of us are self-sabotaging. We're ruminating. We're saying, this ain't possible. I don't know if I can do it, right? This person is capable. They're more smarter than me. Like, we're just a lot of negativity, right? We gotta be looking at our abilities, look at our strengths, right? Look at our, And we can sit here and compare and contrast pros and cons, right? But look at ways we're able to actively get there, right? And that's a positive mindset. So I really want us to take that in consideration, right? So find a way where you're able to ground yourself, validate yourself, right? Have that compassion, right? I want to be able to do this. I'm capable of doing this. If I try my best, if I try, to be consistent, I'm able to do this, right? Make it more manageable for yourself as well, right? And do things when you're ready, right? I want to be able to take that in consideration. Don't compete with the person to the left of you, to the right of you, right? Siblings as well in your own family dynamic, in addition to like your own friend group, etc., right? Do things at your own pace, right? We know when it comes to school, the IEP, individual education plan, right? Everybody's learning abilities are going to be different, right? Everybody's purpose is going to be different, right? And it's really important for you to look at your gifts, like I said, your strengths, etc., right? And make sure you're focusing on your personal development. This is what we're here for, right? But in regards to psychoeducation, to keep us grounded, let's talk about action creates momentum, right? So it's not the only way around. In regards to the brain, it builds motivation after you begin, not before, right? So as you start to begin, and you start to, like I said, have a positive attitude, positive mindset, right? Starting small, doing things that are gonna be more manageable. That's also like you're giving yourself that safety, right? You're also like allowing yourself to feel like this is more possible, and it's also too you're kind of keeping your nervous system more neutral, right? So I really want us to take that in consideration in regards to and insight. Hope is also reinforced through evidence, right? Action creates that evidence, right? So the more things that you do, the more that you're accountable, you're writing things down, you have that agenda book, right? You're taking notes. This is big on the back, and y'all know you've been watching my videos, you know my content. I'm really big on the journaling. You want to have that self-awareness, what's going on with you, your feelings, your emotion. Emotional regulations. People out here doing things that shouldn't be doing, right? And they scratching their head after the fact because it's an out-of-body experience. But you got to know what's really going on with you, right? There's a lot of things that's going on, there's a lot of information, right? But allow yourself to process it. Get away from distractions, get away from the noise, get away from your friends, get away from all this information, and think on your own. Critical thinking, use your brain, right? I really want us to take that in consideration, right? But in regards to when we're talking about the brain, right, let's talk about some practical reframing in regards to how we're able to build hope actively, right? So don't wait for a big shift. Like I said, waiting ain't really gonna do that for you, right? Unless you just try to get your mind right, get some clarity, right? But other than that, like when it comes to like building, growing, like you got to put action to it. So it's like waiting ain't really gonna be do too much for you, right? So start small, right? Make it more manageable for yourself. Focus on the direction, not the whole outcome, right? The big picture. Don't get it twisted. Like, do what you could do today. Focus on the small things, right? And that's gonna help you kind of get the motivation and make this feel as if that you're able to do it, right? Make it more achievable for yourself, right? So let action be imperfect as well. Let's take that in consideration. We're looking for consistency. We're looking for someone that's gonna be able to show up for themselves. We're looking for the effort, right? And that's what, even for me, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm about to graduate, and no more than I would say about, let me look at the calendar as we talking about it. Yep, 2 weeks, real spill. And I never thought that I'm not gonna hold you. I'll be in a position to get my master's, right? But it took me the consistency. So I'm just letting you know in the back end that anything's possible, but you gotta show it for yourself. You know what I mean? Course by course, syllabus by syllabus, right? And those that know if you're in school, y'all know what's up. Like, this is a real process, right? This didn't just happen overnight, right? So as long as you show for yourself, as long as you have that effort, right? You're doing what you have to do. You're getting away from distractions. You're following your process. You're doing things that can be beneficial for you. You're gonna get the outcome. So I really want us to take that in consideration. And for those out there that know what's up, like, go in the comments. talk a little bit about your story, little synopsis or whatever, right? Talk about, you know what I mean? Like really give insight to what's really going on, because this is really important for people out here to know that there is what? There is hope, there is a way, but we have to be consistent. It's not about being imperfect. As many days you're gonna feel like unmotivated, you're gonna feel down, you have your life, you know what I mean? Life be lifing, but we gotta also to have that hope and have that inner peace within us, right? So hope isn't just a feeling that you need at first, right? It's a result of showing up even a little, right?
Good morning.
Good morning. So in regards to micro action, we're going to talk about, you know what I mean, some micro action in regards to let's apply some, because we know better, we're able to do better, right? So ask yourself, right, what is one step I can take in the next 5 minutes, right? What can I do right now, right? Make it so small that it feels so easy for you to accomplish, right? Let this completion matter more than the intensity, right? It's just about doing a small task, right? It could be, like I said, writing things down, being a little bit more organized, right? Having a little bit more structure, you know what I mean? What am I doing today? What am I doing for the week, right? Like, let's start there. Also, I want to be able to take in consideration is do one thing today that your future self could, you know, point out as proof as that you were trying. This person, you know what I mean? Think about it, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, world's going to be a different place. You know what I mean? You probably going to be in a different place, right? We obviously want to be elevating. We're going to be improved. We want to be doing good, right? So think about something. What can I do today that's going to improve myself for my future self? You know what I mean? So my future self is sitting on that throne, on that seat. And I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, damn, like, I did what I had to do. He tried his best. You know what I mean? And I think that is really important to take these things in consideration, because I shouldn't take us to get to the end of the year to be talking about New Year's resolution. I'm about to come into the next year, January. I'm about to be changing. Like, we could start today. We could start now, right? Like I said, what are we waiting for? I mean, improvement, the process is the process, but we got to be adding to the process, right? You know what I mean? So I really want to stick to the consideration. Like, try your best to do what you can today, right? In regards to like pulling this video together, you don't need certainty to move, right? You don't need to have all the right answers. You don't need to like, just try your best to just, you know what I mean? Like I said, get yourself grounded, validate yourself, give yourself that compassion, give yourself that motivation that you can do it, right? Like I said, don't compare yourself or level yourself up to other people, right? Other people got their own things they got going on, their own gifts, their own strengths, right? Look at your strengths, look at what's on your plate, right? And utilize that in regards to motivating yourself to get what you need, right? There's hope, there's a way, there's potential, right? You have that potential, but we got to lock in, right? In regards to, like I said, you're not behind, but you got to be able to build that momentum one step at a time, right? If you found this video was beneficial, give it a thumbs up, share it possible. I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed.